With the changes to runes and relics, dragon hunters lost access to the trapper rune because there's no relic that gives stealth on traps. And while this is a huge nerf to dragon hunters, I think it's probably good for the health of the game because no one really likes getting hit with true shots or the tether from stealth, and removing some stealth access is probably going to be healthy for the game. That does not mean Dragon Hunter is not good anymore though. Dragon Hunter is a bursty playstyle, and I think many people don't even know how Dragon Hunter works in general because they don't really use the combos. So in this video I'm going to go over a more traditional Dragon Hunter playstyle to show that it's very viable if you learn these combos. So let's start off by showing the build. I go for a mix of Marauders and Dragon stats. You want around 40% crit chance, and you want to go for only Marauders and Dragon stats because you want as much vitality as possible because we're going for the Defender Relic. This heals you for 5% of your max health after blocking an attack. If you do multiple blocks, it will heal you for a little bit less, but you can still block and heal for quite a bit with the multi-blocking abilities of your Shield of Courage and Shelter. I go for the Cavalier rune because the movement speed is really necessary. You don't get too much movement speed from that Dragon Hunter trait, and you lose that movement speed anyways if you use your F2, so it's not reliable. Definitely want to go for Cavalier, which also gives you a little bit more toughness. Then for the Sword Shield, I go for Energy Cleansing, just a defensive weapon set that sets up your combos, so it's nice to have some defensive sigils there. And on the Longbow, I go for Air and Vision Sigil. The Air Sigil just gives a little bit more damage, and the Vision Sigil is nice because not always do you have the extra crit modifiers that we're going to get from our traits. And also, during your combos, you're going to have a short window of time where you do a big burst with your traps, and having 100% crit chance during that time is going to be really nice. For the traits, I go for Radiance, Virtues, and Dragon Hunter. Radiance is going to give you most of your crit chance from Righteous Instincts and some Might uptime whenever you have Resolution. This is just standard damage modifiers. And then in Virtues, you're going to get extra Resolution whenever you use your F abilities. And you're going to get extra damage when you have Aegis, which we can give ourselves a little bit with the Shield 4. And then Cleansing on the F2, and a Stun Break on the F3. This is your main stun break besides Contemplation of Purity, because Judge's Intervention is mostly going to be used for the port, not for the stun break, though it can be used for a stun break in very emergency situations. Now for the Dragon Hunter traits, we want to take Dulled Senses because this cripples whenever we disable an enemy. We can knock back with the Shield of Absorption, and in many cases the cripple will bait out dodges. This is really important because if you cannot land your burst combo, then you do 0 damage basically. So you want to be baiting out dodges as much as possible, and landing a CC with your Shield 5 or your Longbow 3 is going to cripple enemies, and most enemies will often dodge when they're crippled for mobility, so it's just baiting out extra dodges is really important to this build. And then we do extra damage to crippled enemies, and our F1, which is the big enabler of our damage, will last longer and give us 15% extra damage to the target. We're going to open with our F1 here. It's going to give us some crit chance because we have Resolution, and that 70% crit chance isn't the best, but if you go in with your Sword 2, that'll give you Fury and give you a little bit more, so you can get to 88% crit chance. And then when the target is burning, you'll also get another 10% crit chance, right? And your F1 is going to constantly burn them, so you've got like 98% crit chance when you've got all of your damage modifiers up. But Fury is generally not going to be up all the time because we don't have access to Fireworks Rune anymore. So essentially you just want to land your F1, and then you want to use your Longbow 2. And the Longbow 2 is going to crit most times if you just swapped into it, and it can do like 7k damage with all those damage modifiers. So you want to get cripple on the target, you want to burn them, and you want to have Resolution. And those are all very easy to get by just pressing your F1 and then your Longbow 2. That is the basic burst. However, that's usually not enough to kill people, and if you do your burst combo and then you can't follow up because Dragon Hunters have very low sustained pressure, you're not going to get the kill, they're going to heal up. So you really want to be doing a dedicated burst combo. So that's what I'm going to be showing here. There's two main combos that you want to be using as a Dragon Hunter. There's the Longbow combo, and then there is the Test of Faith combo. So I'm going to first go over the Test of Faith combo. This is going to be essentially you starting out with your F1 on the target. As soon as you land your F1, you want to go into melee range and use the Test of Faith. This drops the Test of Faith on top of them and it triggers it. If you do not drop the Test of Faith on top of the target and you pull them into it, it will trigger it when you pull them in, and that does not do any damage. The initial damage, as you can see here, is like 65. Pushing and pulling them through the trap will give you damage, so you always want to use Test of Faith on top of them. And then since you have the F1 on them, you want to push them out with your shield 5, pull them in with the F1, and then knock them back out with the Longbow 3. You've only got access to 2 pushes and 1 pull, meaning that if you start with your pull, then you've got 2 pushes and you can't get 2 pushes outside of your Test of Faith. So you want to do a push, then a pull, then a push to get them in and out of your Test of Faith. That will trigger 3 Tests of Faith on them, and you can also swap into your longbow early to get the Test of Faith to crit with the Vision Sigil, and then you can finish off with a Longbow 2. So this will look kind of like this. You land your F1, you push them out, pull them back in, and then you knock them out, and then use your Longbow 2. The next combo involves the Longbow 5. Essentially, when you use the Longbow 5, it does a short pulse, and then it gives a huge burst of damage, and then creates a ward around the target, which will trap them in it. Now, you don't need to sit there and cast this. You just need to get the first second out, and then it will channel without using any of your animations. This means that you can use other skills while it's finishing that pulse. So what you want to do for this combo is you want to land your F1, and then you want to cast your Hunter's Ward on yourself, not on them, and then you want to pull them on top of you. So you're essentially pulling them into the end of your animation there. So it'll look like this. You're going to get your F1, cast your 5 on yourself, pull them in, and then they're trapped here. And then from there, you can use your Longbow 4 on them, you can use your Longbow 2, and you can swap and use your Sword 2, and they'll be trapped in that ward, getting hit by all of those pulsing symbols, and that can do a lot of damage over time. So these golems will actually reset their positioning, but the combo will essentially look like this. Use your F1, Longbow 2, 5 precast, pull on top of you, put the 4 down, Sword 2, and then Sword 3, and they'll be trapped in that double symbol there, and you'll be doing a lot of damage with the Sword 3 while they can't move as well. And they can't dodge as well if they get hit by the wall. So that's pretty much the 2 combos you want to do on Dragonhunter. If you land your F1 in the sword and shield weapon set, then you go for the Test of Faith combo. If you land your F1 in the longbow, do the longbow combo. And other than that, you want to be baiting out cooldowns and dodges and waiting for the right moment to land your burst. Rather than just spamming your Test of Faith off cooldown and all of your other skills off cooldown, you want to be saving these combo pieces to use them all together, because Dragon Hunters are a cooldown based class, and if you just spam them all like that, then you're not going to get the kill and your enemy is going to survive, and you're pretty useless without your cooldowns. So that's probably why most people think that Dragon Hunter is not very good. They like to spam and they don't really think about those combos. But yeah, that's generally how you want to be playing the Dragon Hunter, and I'll be showing some clips of how I do that in real situations. And if you like this content, then like the video and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.